Hi, I'm Thunder and Iron Horse, known as Benny the Jet Urquidez, and I'm here with Mike Matsuda, okay, the founder of the Martial Arts Museum, the History of Museum. And so, Mike, how long has the museum been open?
The museum started in 1999. This is our 17th year. We started as a traveling exhibit. We went all across the country, went to different places, conventions, seminars, you name it. And then we opened in 2006 in Santa Clarita. We relocated to Burbank in 2010. So we've been open there for 5 years.
That's where I've been going to then.
Yes.
All right. So tell me, the purpose of you opening up the Martial Art Museum, what was the purpose? Your not forehead dream of saying, down the future. Mm-hmm. What was your purpose of opening up the museum to begin with?
Well, I think the importance of the museum is to keep our history alive. I've written for Black Belt in Inside Kung Fu for 20 years, and by the next month, that issue's gone, and who remembers what was on there? And I've written books about history, but in time some of those books will be gone, and a lot of stuff won't get reprinted. There are so many things, even though the martial arts has been here a long time, it's been in the last 50, 60 years that all the main stuff has been happening. Full contact started, all these different things, and we're still alive that are here who were part of that. And without a museum, all that wonderful history, even our students we tell stories to, and we put it in books, and we have records and stuff on that. But after our generation is gone, all that history is going to be lost. Who's going to remember Arkwai Wong? Who's going to remember these guys that made an impact on history?
So Mike, what makes this museum unique?
Well, it's unique because it focuses not just on the individual, it focuses on art, history, and culture. The museum takes a look at where the martial arts began and the impact it had in each country, especially Asia. The samurai, the impact it had on Japan, Kung Fu, what it did to China. And then from that history and that culture and that tradition, that came west. And these people, despite prejudice and racism, they brought those arts to America. And it was from here the arts flourished through the movies and media and more, and became not only Asian history, but now became part of American history. So it's that whole part of culture and history that is intertwined with American society. And I think that's very important.
So the presence of the museum is actually the things that you have in it that you're educating not only the public, but you have events there. I've been to a couple of them. Is this a kind of a monthly, weekly, a yearly thing that you do at the museum, or just something, and the purpose of actually having these events is what?
Well, I didn't want the museum to be a place where people come and then go and don't come back for a year or two. Uh-huh. I want it to be the home of the martial arts. We don't have a home. Martial arts is spread all over the world. There's no focal point of the martial arts.
So you're saying the museum's not our home?
The museum is a home now.
Okay, so we have a home.
So we now have a home for the martial arts. Yeah. So these events that we do, it's spread out. People do stuff all over the world. Mm-hmm. But here we have a place that we can do the history of the samurai sword. Days we can honor somebody. Seminars on Japanese culture, Chinese languages, even CPR. Different things that will help the community and bring people continually coming back to the martial arts.
So actually, the museum is actually a foundation of the art that you're just going to build, and there's no ending of how many floors it goes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The more we can educate people, the more we give a lot of tour groups. We're bringing thousands of kids every year to the museum. And they haven't done martial arts, most of them haven't, and this will inspire them to learn martial arts. The museum is there to make an effect on the entire martial arts community as a whole.
Well, we both know the art is a way of life.
Exactly.
And it's not something that you go on Sundays, and you leave it on Sundays. It's something that you take with you everywhere you go.
Exactly.
And so, actually, in the art, keeping this alive, do you believe that it's keeping the Bushido, a heart, the code of honor, alive? in this museum.
Yeah, it's very hard in Western society. You know, it gets lost so quickly. But I believe this is the closest that we have to bring some of that spirit there. You know, there's many tour groups that come from different martial arts schools, and they don't even know what country they came, you know, the martial art is part of. Mm-hmm. So this keeps that Bushido, that art, that, you know, that way of life alive, and teaches people what sacrifices were made and what history and what part of culture that made on an impact on America.
Pretty much, not only so much where it's coming from, but, you know, actually the power that it has,
exactly,
that it impacts mentally, physically, spiritually, character-wise, how it does such an impact on people's life. As you said, even people that are not in the martial arts.
That's correct.
Do you find how many percentage that are not in the art that love to come in and understand or to know a little bit about the history of it?
But you know, most of the people, I would say about 70% of the people that come to the museum don't know any martial arts at all. They're interested in the history. They have no idea what's the difference between karate or kung fu or anything. When they leave, they become inspired, and I believe that instills in that Bushido, that learning. You know, the martial arts is the only sport that looks after each other, that wants each other to become better than themselves, to helps them improve for self-esteem. There's no other sport that does that. And the Martial Arts Museum is part of that. And I hope they leave with that, and I believe they do.
Do you happen to have actually public schools coming, visiting the museum?
Yes, we do. We have at least maybe 3 schools a month, a unified school district, about 75 to 90 kids a tour. So we do a lot of tours. The rest of the month is homeschool groups and martial arts studios. So we do a lot of touring, we do a lot of kids, and the kids come away loving it. And we do a lot of church groups as well. And they get inspired because it's not about just a punch and a kick. It's about learning the art, the tradition, the music, everything that's part of the martial arts. And they walk away with it, and they love coming back.
So, I mean, if somebody, how does somebody get involved if they, you know, if they get involved rather, you know, it's almost like ties, going to church and ties. Mm-hmm. How can they get involved financially, helping, you know, the museum stay alive in some way, almost like paying dues or paying ties or, you know, just to keep it alive, keep the history alive? How can that happen to outside people that are not in the martial arts, or even people in the martial arts?
Well, you know, the museum is a 501c3 nonprofit. We are dependent completely on donations, visitations, and especially memberships. You know, people ask me all the time, how can I help? How can I be part of it? Become a member, $50.
So you're saying it's a tax write-off?
Yeah, it is. It is a tax write-off. But, you know, the memberships make a difference. They really do. You know, it allows them to come in the museum all year without any more pay, but it helps us in the long run. The more memberships we get, the more it can help the museum. Consider the martial arts has over 27,000 known martial arts schools. Imagine if each one just became a $50 member. Right there, we'd be in a huge place.
So you just heard, hey, you just heard Mike from the Martial Art Museum, and you that are actually listening and watching this, truly, it is important to keep this museum alive, to keep the martial art alive, to keep the heroes alive, because again, that's what this whole world is made out of, heroes. And this museum keeps the heroes alive. So if you like to still continue keeping this and having a place that you can learn about the arts, true art going right from the beginning. You know, you just heard Mike, how you can help keeping this alive. We do appreciate, just your thoughts are important. But even though good intentions are great, but you need the courage to act on it. So with that, all I can say, Mike, is what? Thank you for keeping it alive. Thank you for keeping what we love alive. And for all you out there, we'll see you when we see you.